to this edition of the Desert Vision presented by U.S. Army Central. I'm Specialist Nicole Salvatierra.
And I'm Staff Sergeant Dave McDonald.
Coming up on this edition of the Desert Vision, soldiers test their physical and mental strength during the GAFB, we train side by side with the Jordan Armed Forces, and U.S. and Tajik soldiers patrol the mountains of Tajikistan.
Each year, soldiers test their skills to obtain the distinguished honor of donning a German Armed Forces Proficiency Badge, or GAFB. Our next package highlights a few of those soldiers and their quest for the GAFB.
I'm going for the gold.
I'm trying for the gold.
I'm gonna go for silver.
The overall thought as the competition as a whole is that the GAFB is designed to push soldiers to the limits and make sure they can overcome fear. And fear is one of the biggest emotions or things that you have to overcome being in the military, because it can stop you from doing a lot of things. So if you can push through and make it happen, you can do anything. I obtained the gold badge by basically doing the best in the hang, the shuttle run, and the sprint, and making sure that I got through the ruck march within the time allowed.
So I failed out after the ruck march. I missed it by 1 minute. A little disappointed in myself, but you know, I've prayed for God to make me humble. Maybe this was his reply, or maybe he was just telling me that he was trying to teach me the value of a minute and to make every minute count. So I'm definitely going to use this to remember the importance of every little detail.
Overall experience, I would say, was a great experience. It was a humbling experience, because you never know to what your abilities could be. I kind of fell short on my overall goal, but you know, you still come out knowing that, hey, I achieved this finally. I did go for gold. I fell slightly short of that. I ended up with silver, but you know, in the end, like I said before, it's easy to know that that I at least tried out for it. I wouldn't have never known what I would have got until now, and I know now I got silver, and I'm satisfied with that.
Members who are unable to qualify in a specific event are welcome to participate again within a 2-year window. This includes individuals who are interested in trading in their bronze or silver badges for a coveted gold badge. Next, join me as U.S. and Jordan Armed Forces train to respond to a biological attack as part of exercise Eager Lion.
Today was a demonstration of the Jordanian capabilities for chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear attack. We have done this within the confines of the architecture of Eager Lion 18, which is the exercise that we're participating in with Jordanian forces. The significance of this year's event in Eager Lion 18 is that this is the first time that we've incorporated the biologic reaction to an event. Typically, we find that when folks reference the Chem Bio Rad Nuke, that we address chemical, we address nuclear, we address radiologic, and this was a unique opportunity to address specifically the biologic reaction.
With a biological agent, it's a living organism, so it's a lot more difficult to keep it viable, and there's a lot more involved in that process. When it comes to dealing with it, we approach it differently when you're handling the samples. With a chemical, as long as you keep it stable, you can pretty much move it wherever you want, but with a biological or a living organism, you have to keep it out of direct sunlight. You can't expose it to chemicals, too much heat, too much cold. So it's a lot different in the sampling process.
As a global health specialist, it's known that Jordan voluntarily participates in the World Health Organization international health regulations. They have an excellent healthcare infrastructure system, and the ability to come out here and watch them respond to a potential biologic threat really is resounding, and it speaks to the capability both in the civilian, private, and military sector.
This training allowed the U.S. and Jordanian service members to utilize the Jordanian Mobile Biolab, allowing them to test their samples on location.
Mental illness does not discriminate. It doesn't care your age, your race, your background, your socioeconomic status. You can be fine your entire life and get to be 35 years old and suddenly start having a panic attack. It doesn't pick certain people out, and it's not because, oh, I don't know, you just didn't have enough character. You didn't build up enough character over your life. Anxiety, depression, the full scope of mental health conditions, it doesn't create like a wound or injury, something that you can necessarily see a lot of times, but that doesn't make it any less real. Your feelings and your experience of your anxiety and your depression, that makes it real right there, even if it's not an injury that we can actually see with our eyes. This is something that's treated through a medical model the same way physical injuries are.
Welcome back from the break. Next up, Task Force Spartan Soldiers train alongside the Jordan Armed Forces as part of the Jordan Operational Engagement Program. Staff Sergeant Matthew Keeler has the story.
They're a good group. I mean, all of these guys have been great. They pay attention, good sense of humor, translates well from orders, and just infantry in general. But we've had a good experience. Communication is extremely important, especially on the mortar line. Deflection data, any data that we get from fire direction control needs to be spot on, needs to be accurate. It translates into accuracy downrange. So 1 mil of difference at 1,000 meters is a big deal.
Today I was going over misfire procedures with the Jordanian military. When we have a misfire procedure is exactly that, when the round doesn't go off. And we want to make sure that these guys know exactly what to do in a case of that.
I mean, there's always a little bit of a learning curve, but our linguists are on point. Most of the guys get the concepts, and the guys who are a little stronger with it, they go back and they help teach those guys, make sure they're sped up.
This training was a precursor to Exercise Eager Lion, a Jordanian-led joint exercise with U.S. Armed Forces. When your office is the coastline of Kuwait, going to work is more like a relaxing day at the beach. Members of the 74th Engineer Dive Detachment gathered at Kuwait Naval Base Kuwait to practice and qualify for the next level of training.
Oh yeah. One of the mission requirements that we fulfill out here is to perform underwater cutting and welding operations, whether that be to improve the capabilities of the Army's watercraft transportation, or if it's to remove or clear an underwater obstacle of any sort. We like to implement our cutting and welding techniques. What the soldiers are doing behind me is they're conducting repetitive cutting and welding techniques to become better enablers for assets across the RCENT AOR.
If a boat were to run into an object and a hole were to be created in the hull, we could actually go down there and place a patch to, get that boat going to wherever it needs to go. So this is preparing us for situations like that. Same with cutting. If there was any kind of debris in a route that we needed to get rid of, this is enabling us to be more prepared to get that debris out of the way. This process is exciting. Just diving alone is, our favorite thing to do, obviously. Doing our job is the best. The salvage diver checklist is fun in itself. We get to get wet and do our job, and it's rewarding, really.
Their cutting and welding exercises are just a small portion of a larger list of necessary tasks to upgrade from second-class diver to salvage diver.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Abdullah, and on behalf of the Army Surgeon General, this is your Army Medicine, Be As Healthy As You Can Be, Health Minute. June is Men's Health Month. To increase awareness of preventable health issues and encourage early detection and treatment for men and boys, American men are at risk for being less healthy and having shorter lives than American women. A report by the CDC states that women are 100% more likely to visit the doctor for annual exams and for services to support health than men. Men are also more likely than women to smoke cigarettes, to die in motor vehicle accidents, and to experience other preventable events. To reduce men's health risks and identify and treat any health conditions or diseases early, focus on the following 3 areas. Get quality sleep, engage in physical activity, and improve nutrition. Schedule an appointment to see a healthcare provider for a health checkup at least once a year. Get screened for early detection. Early detection of many conditions or diseases can lead to early treatment and can often reduce suffering or risk of death. For more information, you can visit the Army Public Health Center website at phc.amed.army.mil. Army Medicine, one team, one purpose, conserving the fighting strength since 1775.
Next up, we'll join Specialist Joseph Black as he follows U.S. and Emirati soldiers as they practice rapid movement of the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System at Al Manad Air Base, United Arab Emirates.
Seen behind me is a high-range exercise. It's a rehearsal of how we use the U.S. Army and Emirati Land Forces HIMARS platform to competitively posture across the Middle East and Central Asia.
Our training throughout the year is more ground and more trees and more terrain focused. Here is something a little special. We don't get to do this all the time. So a lot of our guys, it's their first time doing this exercise, so they're really excited to do it here.
So this exercise is boosting our readiness because it's showing that we're capable of being able to move quickly to and from locations. So we're able to load up onto the plane quickly and unload from the plane quickly and then get right back on.
The exercise allowed leaders to assess the joint deployment of the HIMARS. Soldiers with the Tajik and U.S. armies worked together to conduct a 24-hour field training exercise in the mountains near Dushanbe, Tajikistan. Sergeant Thomas Crow has the story.
Right now we're conducting a 24-hour FTX with the Peacekeeping Battalion, the Tajik Mobile Forces. We're doing a military-to-military exchange. It's a 24-hour mission that keeps building on itself. So we went to conducting traffic control points, which led to forces escaping. Went out and they did a reconnaissance. And then went out, set up a screen, and then captured the small group moving forward. After the search, found a map with intelligence that drug traffickers are going to be coming through the valley. And then ambushed the 8 to 10 man cell that's going to be moving through the valley.
This is the first step, or you can say one of the ways that we can build a good relationship by exchanging our tactical trainings. And in futures, I want that this kind of exercises to be conducted more.
Good group of guys. They're eager to learn the information that we share, and then we're also like to learn from them. They have a lot of experience, especially in the mountains, and they're really hands-on, which is great for FTXs and events like this.
The best part is kind of hands-on, of course, being here in a field and seeing things in actual and taking part by firing and doing real things in the field.
I think it's very important in doing the mission that we're doing on this deployment is really to build interoperability and enhance partner capacity. It's really so our forces can work together in the future and just kind of learn from each other over time.
The operation was mentally and physically challenging, requiring cooperation and teamwork to complete the mission.
That story was a pleasant break from the heat. Right?
It was. It was so green. I really liked how the countryside looks. Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Desert Vision. For these stories and more, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/US Army Central.
And check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/US Army Central.
I'm Staff Sergeant Day McDonald.
And I'm Specialist Nicole Salvatierra.
Thanks for watching.